Hi, welcome to Cooking with Tyrrell County Public Library. My name is Linda, and I wanted to share with you today a sweet potato muffin recipe that is a staple in our house. Sometimes we have it for breakfast, sometimes it's one of those quick go recipes, snacks when we're on the run. Most of these ingredients you should have in your house. Some you may not, because we make adjustments to our diet and some of the ingredients, so I'll try and let you know what you can use in place of what we're using today. Okay, so let's go through the ingredient list, all right? First thing on the ingredient list is 2 cups of whole grain spelt flour. We use spelt flour because we have an issue with regular grains. Spelt flour is used in place of whole wheat flour. Next on the ingredient list is 3/4 teaspoon of salt. The recipe calls for sea salt. We use Himalayan sea salt, and that's just our choice. A teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Now, I have a lot of family members that are dealing with diabetes and pre-diabetes, so we choose not to do a lot of granulated sugar in our cooking. We pretty much use coconut palm sugar, which you can find locally here, but regular recipe calls for granulated sugar. Next is 3/4 cup of applesauce, and then 1½ cups of shredded sweet potato, and then 3/4 cup of coconut milk. The coconut milk really isn't you don't really taste it in the recipe, so we pick that up at the local supermarket or the dollar store.
So let's get the recipe started. I'm going to preheat the oven to 400 degrees and grease our 12-count muffin tin. My family prefers the smaller mini muffins because we like to go, we're always on the go, and we can pop these into containers for the car or into a backpack. So I'm going to grease those, and I'm also going to start shredding some sweet potatoes. I am using a regular box grater. I am pretty much using the smallest setting for the shredding. Okay, now that the sweet potato is shredded and I feel like I am Popeye with my nice strong muscles from all that shredding, we are going to get started. Now we need 2 cups of flour. And again, I'm using the spelt flour in place of whole wheat flour. And then after that, I need 3/4 teaspoon of salt, sea salt. So I'm going to mix that in with the flour. So 3/4, 1, 2, 3. And then after that, I need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So there's my teaspoon of baking soda. And then I need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. My baking powder is running low. I gotta figure this one out. Okay, there we go. A teaspoon of baking powder. In you go. Then next I need cinnamon. So I need 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. That is 1/2 teaspoon. And now I'm going to put a whole teaspoon in. Okay. Then the next thing it calls for is 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. Grab my ground ginger, and in goes 1 teaspoon. Okay. Now I'm going to mix this up until it is well combined. Okay. Now, the next thing it says we need to do is build a well in the middle. So there's my well. Not too even, but I don't care. Okay, now we have the well in the middle, and we're going to add in the wet ingredients. And so our wet ingredients are half a cup of, we need I'm opening up the applesauce. We need 3/4 of a cup of applesauce. And I'm just pouring in some ready-made applesauce containers. Out. Okay. That's one, and it doesn't completely fill it, so I'm going to get another one open to top it off. Okay, so that's a half a cup now. And now we're going to add the last quarter to make it 3/4 of a cup. All right. Then we are going to add a half a cup of sugar. And again, we are choosing to use a granulated sugar over using a coconut palm sugar over using granulated sugar. So I'm using the applesauce cup. It's probably going to stick a little, but that's okay because we don't like our stuff too sweet, and I can scrape it out also. It looks like brown sugar, but it's coconut palm sugar. And it tastes just the same. We've always substituted it in. For the most part, in all of our recipes, it keeps your glycemic index more even keeled. Okay, next we are going to add our shredded sweet potato, 1.5 cups. In it goes, into the bowl. And then finally what we're going to add is our coconut milk. Now I have made this recently and had a can of coconut milk that we never finished off. So I put it in the fridge, and now I am going to add the coconut milk in, and we need 3/4 of a cup. So that's 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup, and 3/4 of a cup. And now we are just going to mix this all together until it comes together. Now, sweet potatoes are a great antioxidant, and they're filled with beta carotene. Actually, that's what they're known for. But they're also very high in vitamin A and very good source of vitamin C, and are full of manganese, calcium, potassium, iron, B6, and fiber. So with this recipe, outside of the sugar, it's pretty healthy. So if you're looking for a healthy snack for your kids, this might be a good go-to for you. Usually I have to add chocolate chips to get my child to eat anything, but these he'll eat as is. You could throw in some raisins in here, or maybe some nuts to add a little bit more protein to it. But actually, they're really good just the way they are. My house is going to be smelling so good in a moment once these go into the oven that I'm not going to my child will not be thinking about anything chocolate for a while. Okay, once it's all combined, as it just about is now, I am going to pause so I can get the containers here in front of you so you can see us scooping them in and getting ready to put it into the oven. Okay, as you can see, I oiled these with a little spray. Now we're going to start scooping them in. I actually need 2 containers because with using the small ones, you need a couple of them to go. So we just add these in. Okay, one down. Let's grab the next one. That would be a big fluffy one. So again, all we're doing here is dividing the muffin batter between the greased muffin tins. And then we are going to place in the oven for about a preheated oven for about 20 minutes. I like to check them about 15 minutes in to see if they're done so they stay moist, although the sweet potato in here should definitely keep it moist if you go over a little bit. All right. So we have our minis getting ready to go into the oven.
Okay, let's get them in the oven.
Okay, we'll check them at the 15-minute mark.
This house smells great.
You want to allow these muffins to cool in the pan for about 5 to 10 minutes before moving them to a cooling rack, which is really hard because they just smell amazing at this point. And as you can see, we already dipped into one. So they have been here for a few minutes. I can still handle them, so I'm taking them out and I'm putting them up on the cooling rack for a few more minutes to get the air circulating underneath them.
Thank you for joining me for Cooking with Tyrrell County Public Libraries program. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page to stay up to date on all the programming happening in your community through the library. Let me know if you have any questions on this recipe. I hope to see you next month for our next recipe share. Now I'm going to enjoy my tea and my muffin. Have a great afternoon. Bye.